Boston Red Sox here once again trade one of their big bats. This time it's Andrew Benintendi, the left fielder, outfielder here, and big hitter, and a guy they had high hopes for, but the Kansas City Royals go get him here in a three-team trade with the New York Mets and the Royals. So right here, the Boston Red Sox, they'll get Frenchie Cordero, a pitcher from the New York Mets, and two players to be named later. One from the Mets it's going to be, and one from the Kansas City Royals. So the Red Sox really in rebuild mode. They traded Betts last season, and now Benintendi is another guy that goes here in this league. Benintendi, it's a good move here for the Kansas City Royals. And the Royals, they're trying to compete a little this season. After the last few seasons, they've been pretty much an embarrassment in their division. And to be honest, their division isn't that tough this year. With the Indians rebuilding, the Tigers been rebuilding the last few years. And also, I know you got the Twins who are decent, and you also got Chicago that's loaded up the last few years. But Benintendi, it's a good move here for Kansas City. He's only 26 years old, and in the last few years, he's been okay. Nothing great. 2018, 16 home runs, 87 RBIs in 660 plate appearances. 290 batting average, 366 on base, a 465 slugging, and an 830 OPS. 2019 with Boston, 13 homers, 68 RBIs, 266 batting average, a 343 on base, 431 slugging, and a 774 OPS. And last season in Boston, he only played 14 games in the 60 last year. No homers, 1 RBI, 103 batting average, 314 on base, 128 slugging, and a 442 OPS. So we heard Benintendi rumors last season that he might get dealt at the trade deadline, but those never came to fruition. But after last year with the injuries and the struggles in a 14-game sample, the Red Sox, they were putting him on the trade block the whole offseason. And right here, he finally gets traded 2 weeks before spring training, and he lands in Kansas City, which is a decent hitter's park. Kansas City, they had an opening in the outfield, so Benintendi, he'll fit right in at 26 years old and go into the outfield. And his projected stats for this season, 322 plate appearances, 8 home runs, 39 RBIs, a 263 batting average, 347 on base, a 426 slugging, 773 OPS. So they're projecting him pretty low stats. They don't think he's going to play a whole season here, and we'll see how that goes for him this year. But it's definitely worth the risk for Kansas City. They didn't really give up much, in my opinion. Frenchie Cordero and a player to be named later, I don't think it's much. I'll get to Cordero in a minute. But as far as fantasy baseball goes, Benintendi, he's a player in the mid to late rounds you'll probably target. Anywhere from the 15th to the 20th round, I believe he'll go. He could have a bounce-back season. He had a pretty good 2017 and 2018, but the last 2 seasons have been rough for him. But a change of scenery could always be good. Now to Frenchie Cordero, who lands with the Boston Red Sox. He was the main piece in this deal for the Bo Sox. And Cordero, he's going to be 26 years old. He's been in the major leagues 4 years now, and he hasn't done much really. He's been on the Padres, and he was on the Royals last season in his first year with Kansas City. So we'll go to 2018. Cordero, he played 40 games, 7 home runs, 19 RBIs, 5 stolen bases, a 237 batting average, 307 on base, a 439 slugging, and a 746 OPS. And then 2019 with the Padres, he only appeared in 9 games, and he didn't do much. No homers and RBI. He did hit 333, but that's a very small sample. 450 on base, 400 slugging, and an 850 OPS. And then last season with Kansas City, 16 games, 42 plate appearances, 2 home runs, 7 RBIs, a 211 batting average, 286 on base, 447 slugging, and a 733 OPS. So the Red Sox, they didn't get much in this deal with Cordero. I think he's going to be the starter, obviously. You're not going to give up one of your top prospects over the last few years, even though he's been struggling, to get a guy who really hasn't done much, but now he's going to get an opportunity. And they're projecting him this season 10 home runs, 32 RBIs, a 240 batting average, 322 on base, a 428 slugging, and a 750 OPS. So we'll see if Cordero could do good this season. But I don't know if he can. So far, looking at his stats and stuff, in 4 years in the big leagues, he hasn't done much. And this will be his third team in as many seasons now for Cordero. So hopefully he could bounce back and get things going. And as far as fantasy baseball is concerned, he's a guy I'm not going to target at all. It's a wait-and-see approach and see what he could do in his starting job with the Red Sox, which he most likely should have, is Cordero. And now to the Mets side of things, they get a quick outfielder, and Khalil Lee is the Mets. He'll be on the Mets 40-man roster, is Lee, but I don't think he'll be starting or a guy off the bench. But he's a pretty good get for the New York Mets. The Mets, they've been dismantled in the minor leagues with no top prospects, really. And Lee, he was the Kansas City Royals' 8th top prospect. So the Mets, they give up a pitcher that they got in the Steven Matz deal and a player to be named later to get Lee on their team. And I like the move here for the Mets. They're trying to get younger. They're trying to build up the farm system. And this guy, Lee, he's a speed demon. He had 53 stolen bases in the minor leagues in 2019. So we'll see if he makes the Mets team. Right now, he's on the 40-man, like I mentioned. But right now, with Brandon Nimmo, Albert Almora signed, Dom Smith out there as well, I think it's too crowded right now in that Met outfield for Lee to have any fantasy value or make the team. But in a year or two, he possibly can make the team and be valuable. So Andrew Benintendi, in a blockbuster deal and a surprising deal, goes to the Kansas City Royals. And in my opinion, the Red Sox, they didn't get much in this deal. And we'll see how this pans out in the regular season and fantasy baseball here in the upcoming 2021 season.